Hey everyone, it's Icar with Okay High Vibes with the New Orleans Voodoo Tarot walkthrough and review. So this was gifted to me. What a beautiful gift to get. Of course, I had two friends that went to New Orleans and they got this deck for me. And it's actually a great deck. So it comes in a pretty big box, honestly. Pretty thick. And it's beautiful. I love the colors that people like, that the artist chose. It's really cool. And it opens up like that, like a drawer. Now, two things that I will say that kind of like bother me a little bit is that like it comes out like that, but there's no little ribbon for me to grab to. I have to like stretch the box open and slide it, which is fine. It's doable. It's not a huge deal, but it's just, something that I wish that there was a ribbon for that. And then here's the book. The book is actually pretty massive, and I'll show you guys. But that's the other thing that kind of bothers me too. There is no ribbon for that either. So I either have to like pull from the cover or go from the top and like get the book out. And it's a pretty tight fit. So I feel like it kind of like destroys a bit of the book. But it's a pretty thick book, honestly. I took the cards out already to kind of save us a little bit of time. But look at this book. It's a book. It's a real it's a real book. Let's see how many pages are on here. 276. I didn't get a little postcard. Oh. 276. And interestingly enough, I did not expect this, but they actually have like Kabbalah references. Let me see if I can find one for you guys. So like, for example, you have the vessels, which is what they call the minor arcana. So the major arcana, they call the roads. They call it the 22 roads. And then you have your vessels, which are the minor arcana. But you see, you go from Kether to Hokmah to Bina to Geborah, Tiferet, and all the other ones. So that's really interesting. And then I'm forgetting what they call the court cards, but let me check them. Let's check them out right now. Oh yeah, so you have the 16 temple cards. The temple cards are the court cards. So it's the vessels, the temple cards, and the 22 roads. And then this is pretty much what it looks like. You have a picture, black and white, then you have what they call des Aveveh, which is kind of like a design for the card. Then you have the suit, which we're going to go through. And then you have the name of the Loa, which is what they call the spirit of the card. And then you have the meaning. Some of them go on for about 2 or 3 pages. This one's pretty short, but it's not a boring read, honestly. So yeah, that's your massive book. And it talks a little bit about what voodoo is, what voodoo means, and all that good stuff. And then it goes through the meanings. So here we have the deck. This back is actually pretty beautiful. I like this back a lot. The cards are smaller. Here we have a Rider-Waite-Smith. And let me flip it for you guys. So it is shorter. It's about the same width, but it is about, I don't know, 1/4 inch shorter. So yeah, so just so you guys know that. So I will be showing you all the cards. If you don't want to see all of them, if this is a card that interests you and you don't want to see all of it, that's okay. You can skip through, but I will be showing you all of them. So the world egg is the Fool. There are a lot of snake references in this deck, which I find to be really, really interesting. So you have the world. Dr. John, it was a real person, according to the book. And he was kind of like a magician. So he is in the magician position. Marie Laveau, very famous. If you've watched American Horror Story, she was the priestess of voodoo. And pretty much she was that person. Well, of course, not in the show. But she was the voodoo priestess. So she, of course, is in the high priestess position. Then you have Aizan. Loco would be the... So as you've already noticed, they don't have the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith names. This would be the Hierophant, which I actually find it interesting to be the master of the head. But they have their own voodoo names, of course. Marasa are the twins, or the lovers. Possession is strength. Interesting. So it does take a little bit to get used to this deck, because for someone like me who's not very familiar with voodoo but finds it interesting, and it's a very interesting deck, the names don't make much sense. And you can see there is also quite like a few Egyptian references. This would be, I believe, the Hangman. Death. So like for me, Thibonage would be the little angel. They actually call it the good little angel. And this, I believe, would be Temperance. So like a lot of these, they portray voodoo rituals, of course, voodoo loas, which are spirits. I learned that from the book. Voodoo gods, goddesses, the pantheon, and of course, their belief systems. So if you're not familiar with it, it will take you a second to understand what the cards mean. But honestly, Carnival, for example, I think that's pretty, but Ancestors also, I think that's pretty universal. And then you have the wild card, Le Baron. A lot of these two are in French, like Dambala la Flambeau. Flambeau would be like fire. So yeah, a lot of these are universal words. So you could pick it up a little bit. So I know I skipped ahead a little bit, but you have Aguela Flambeau, which would be the 4. And then Petro is the suit of fire. So they actually put like nations in here, except for the Earth card, and we'll get there. The Earth suit, I mean. But Petro will be the suit of fire, and this would be, let's say, the 5 of wands. Legba is one of the gatekeepers of voodoo. But pretty much for the fire one, they have like Simbi is the snake, the divine snake, La Flambeau. So it's like the Simbi of fire. And then we get to the court cards. So Hosis, or Honsis, I believe, is the princess. La Place would be, the princess is also equivalent to the page. The page. La Place would be the knight or the prince. Mambo is the queen. And Hongan is the king. Which I can find a little confusing because, as you saw, Honsis is the princess or the page, but then you have like something that starts very similar, but it's Hongan, but it's the king. So like when I was putting this deck back together in order, I thought that the Honsis would be the queen, because I knew that Hongan was the king, but I didn't. I had to look at the book and be like, wait, am I right about that? And I wasn't. So the nation of Congo is the nation of water. So this would be the suit of cups. So you see, like, I personally find the images to be really beautiful and really provocative. And they evoke definitely emotions or, your intuition. Then here we get to the Honsis again, which is the page. La Place, Mambo the queen, and Honga. Then we get to Rada, which is air, or the suit of swords, and this is the ace of swords. So this snake pretty much is called like Dambala, I think. There's a lot of like, they repeat, but another confusing thing too is that they repeat in the first 3 suits, in the fire, water, and air, but they change when it comes to the earth, suit. See Simbi, a lot of snake references. Page of Swords, Knight of Swords, the Queen of Swords, and the King of Swords. Now we get to Santeria, which is the earth. And this is not like a nation, like the other ones, Rada, Petro, and Congo are nations that have a lot of voodoo. But Santeria is not, it's actually a branch off of voodoo. So the artists and the creators, they decided to put this in here. So then you have Olodumare, which is ki or chi, or like kundalini, the energy that permeates everything when it comes to Santeria. So Santeria changes a little bit. But this is the pseudo of earth. So you have the 3 of Pentacles, the 4 of Pentacles, Yemaya, one of the water goddesses of Santeria and voodoo in general. And then here, you don't have Hon Sis. This would be the page of earth, but it's Yagua. So it changes from Hon Sis to this. And then it's not Laplace, it's Oriate. Then you have the Santera, which would be the queen, and then the Santero, which is the king. So for the earth suit, it changes a little bit. So that's also a little bit confusing, because let's say if you learn that, oh, Laplace means knight or prince, then you get to Santeria and you go, oh wait, it's not that anymore. It's it's Yorate. So you go, okay. But the borders, if you notice them, they're actually pretty thick. So if you so choose, you could actually write on the side and be like, oh, this is the King of Pentacles or the King of Earth. And you can maybe write keywords on the sides. If you so choose to do keywords that are according to the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition, or if it's keywords that the book gives you, that's totally up to you. So thank you so much for joining me, guys. I hope that this review and walkthrough helps you understand more of what this deck is all about. Thank you so much. Much love out there.